Hello and welcome to tonight's reading. I'm glad you're here as we continue reading through the book of Genesis together. Tonight we're picking up where we left off last night in Genesis chapter 19, starting in verse 30, as we continue moving through the unfolding story of early scripture. At this point in Genesis, we've already moved through the account of creation, the fall of man, the spread of early humanity leading up to the flood itself and what followed, the Tower of Babel, and then into the life and calling of Abraham. Now we continue forward as the focus narrows further into the next generation and the events surrounding Lot and his family. What we're reading now comes in the aftermath of those earlier moments, and it continues showing how choices and consequences carry forward even beyond the immediate events we've already seen. As we read forward, we'll continue through the upcoming verses and watching how these moments connect into the broader direction Genesis is taking as the story continues. I'll be reading for about 2 hours tonight, moving steadily through each text and pausing between chapters for reflections, letting it guide the pace as we go. Let's begin. This is Genesis chapter 19, verse 30. Now Lot went up out of Zoar and lived in the hills with his 2 daughters, for he was afraid to live in Zoar. So he lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. And the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man on earth to come in unto us after the manner of the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and he will lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father. So they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. He did not know when she lay down or when she arose. The next day the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let us make him drink wine tonight also. Then you go in and lie with him. Then we may preserve offspring from our father. So they made their father drink wine that night also, and the younger arose and lay with him. And he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot became pregnant by their father. Their firstborn bore a son called Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son and called his name Ben-Ammi. He is the father of the Ammonites to this day. Chapter 2. Chapter 20. And from there, Abraham journeyed toward the territory of Negeb and lived between Kadesh and Shur, and he sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech the king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But God said to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, you are a dead man because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. Now Abimelech had not approached her, so he said, Lord, will you kill an innocent people? Did he not himself say to me, She is my sister? And she herself said, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart, in the integrity of my hands, I have done this. Then God said to him in a dream, Yes, I know that you have done this in the integrity of your heart, and it was I who kept you from sinning against me. Therefore, I did not let you touch her. Now then, return the man's wife, for he is a prophet, so that he may pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not return her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. Verse 8. So Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told them all these things, and the men were very much afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us, and how have I sinned against you, that you have brought me and my kingdom a great sin. You have done to me things that ought not be done." And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What did you see that you did this thing?" And Abraham said, "I did it because I thought, there is no fear of God at all in this place, and they will kill me because of my wife. Besides, she is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And when God caused me to wander from my father's house, I said to her, 'This is the kindness you must do to me. At every place to which we come, say of me, he is my brother.' Then Abimelech took sheep and oxen and male servants and female servants and gave them to Abraham, and returned Sarah his wife to him. And Abimelech said, 'Behold, my land is before you. Dwell where it pleases you.' So to Sarah he said, 'Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver. It is a sign of your innocence in the eyes of all who are with you, and before everyone you are vindicated.' Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, and also healed his wife and female slaves, so that they bore children. So the Lord had closed all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife." Chapter 21. Thank you, Morgan. Yes, thank you, Heather. Thanks for all the likes and shares here. And thanks for being here tonight. Tonight we are reading through Genesis chapter 21 in the ESV if you're following along. We're glad to have you here tonight. Glad to see so many people here. Keegan, hey brother, nice to see you here, man. Thanks for being here. Jules, thanks for the share. Shannon, thank you. Thank you, Teresa. Marshmallow, welcome. We're glad to have you here tonight. Tonight we are reading in Genesis chapter 21 in the ESV if you are following along. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Genesis chapter 21. The Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord said to Sarah as he had promised. And Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age at the time of which God had spoken to him. Abraham called the name of his son, whom was born to him, whom Sarah bore him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. And Sarah said, "God has made laughter for me Everyone who hears will laugh over me." And she said, "Who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? Yet I have borne him a son in his old age." And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the day that Isaac was weaned. But Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, laughing. So she said to Abraham, Cast out this slave woman with her son, for the son of this slave woman shall not be the heir with my son Isaac." And the thing was very displeasing to Abraham on account of his son. But God said to Abraham, "Be not displeased because of the boy and because of your slave woman. Whatever Sarah says to you, do as she tells you, for through Isaac shall your offspring be named. And I will make a nation of the son of the slave woman also, because he is your offspring." So Abraham rose early in the morning and took bread and a skin of water and gave it to Hagar, putting it on her shoulder along with the child, and sent her away, as she departed and wandered into the wilderness of Beersheba. When the water in the skin was gone, she put the child under one of the bushes. Then she went and sat down opposite of him a good way off, about the distance of a bow shot, for she said, "Let me not look on the death of my child." As she sat opposite of him, she lifted up her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the boy, and the angel of God called to Hagar from heaven and said to her, "What troubles you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he is. Up, lift up the boy and hold him fast with your hand, for I will make him into a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water, and she went and filled the skin with water and gave the boy a drink. And God was with the boy, and he grew up, and he lived in the wilderness and became an expert with the bow. He lived in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took a wife for him from the land of Egypt. Verse 22. At that time, Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, said to Abraham, "God is with you in all that you do. Now therefore, swear to me here by God that you will not deal falsely with me, or with my descendants, or with my posterity, but as I have dealt kindly with you, so you will deal with me and with the land where you have sojourned." And Abraham said, "I will swear." Then Abraham reproved Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. Abimelech said, "I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, and I have not heard it until today." So Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them to Abimelech, and the two men made a covenant. Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock apart. And Abimelech said to Abraham, "What is the meaning of these 7 ewe lambs that you have set apart?" He said, "These 7 ewe lambs you have taken from my hand, that this may be a witness for me that I dug this well." Therefore, that place was called Beersheba, because there both of them swore an oath. So they made a covenant at Beersheba. Then Abimelech and Phicol, the commander of his army, rose up and returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham planted a tamarisk tree in Beersheba and called there on the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned many days in the land of the Philistines. Chapter 22. Tonight's featured mug is from the tribe of Issachar in Genesis 49 and verse 14. Issachar is a strong donkey crouching between two burdens, and the donkey symbolizes hard work, service, and endurance, a quiet strength carried with purpose. Strong like Issachar, and hopefully your coffee too. So with the emblem on the front and the Hebrew tribe name on the back. If you're interested, I'll drop in the comments a link to the potter who makes a lot of great faith-based pottery in different pieces if you want to check out their profile. Thanks everyone for the support and the likes and the shares on this live tonight. If you're just joining, we are reading tonight in the book of Genesis. We're currently in chapter 22, and we are reading in the ESV if anyone is following along. And go ahead and give the live a share to someone if you feel they could be blessed by the reading tonight. And really appreciate you all being here tonight. Thank you, Kimberly. That's very nice of you. Appreciate that. Tonight I am drinking an herbal tea, and it's been in my drawer for about 10 years, so there was no name on it, but it tastes good. So hopefully everything goes well. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Genesis chapter 22. After these things, God tested Abraham and said to him, "Abraham," and he said, "Here I am." He said, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah, and offer him there as a burnt offering on one of the mountains of which I will tell you." So Abraham rose early in the morning, saddled his donkey, and took 2 of his young men with him, and his son Isaac. And he cut the wood for the burnt offering, and arose and went to the place of which God had told him. On the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place from afar. Then Abraham said to his young men, "Stay here with the donkey. I and the boy will go over there and worship and come again to you." And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it on Isaac his son. And he took in his hand the fire and the knife. So they both went of them together. And Isaac said to his father, "Abraham, my father." And he said, "Here I am, my son." He said, "Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?" Abraham said, "God will provide for himself the lamb for a burnt offering, my son." So they both went together. When they came to the place of which God had told him, Abraham built the altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then Abraham reached out his hand and took the knife to slaughter his son. But the angel of the Lord called to him from heaven and said, "Abraham, Abraham." And he said, "Here I am." He said, "Do not lay your hand on the boy or do anything to him, for now I know that you fear God, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram caught in a thicket by his horns. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, "The Lord will provide," as it is said to this day, "On the mount of the Lord it shall be provided." And the angel of the Lord called to Abraham a second time from heaven and said, "By myself I have sworn, declares the Lord, because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you, and I will surely multiply your offspring as the stars of the heaven and as the sand that is on the seashore. And your offspring shall possess the gate of his enemies. And in your offspring shall all the nations of the earth be blessed, because you have obeyed my voice." Verse 19. So Abraham returned to his young men, and they arose and went together to Beersheba, and Abraham lived at Beersheba. Now after these things it was told to Abraham, "Behold, Milcah also has borne children to your brother Nahor, Uz his firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel the father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Dilaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel fathered Rebekah. These 8 Milcah bore to Nahor, Abraham's brother. Moreover, his concubine, whose name was Rumah, bore Timba, Gabha, Tahash, and Machab. Chapter 23. I just cheers my own glass. The tea glass and the water glass. Thank you everyone for joining the live tonight. We are reading in Genesis chapter 23. We are currently reading about the life of Abraham and his offspring Isaac. And thanks for being here tonight. If you feel this live could be a blessing, feel free to share it to someone who could be edified or blessed by it this evening. Hi, Coco. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Zechariah. It's a great name. Thanks for being here tonight. Welcome everyone who's just joining. Tonight we're reading through the scriptures, going chapter by chapter. Welcome in, Akari. Glad to have you here. Thanks for being here, Kristen. All right, let's continue. Genesis chapter 23. Sarah lived 127 years. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died at Kiriath Arabah, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went in to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up from before his dead and said to the Hittites, I am a sojourner and foreigner among you. Give me property among you for a burial place, that I may bury my dead out of my sight." The Hittites answered Abraham, "Hear us, my lord. You are a prince of God among us. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will withhold from you his tomb to hinder you from burying your dead." And Abraham rose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land, and he said to them, "If you are willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me Ephron the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns. It is at the end of his field. For the full price, let him give it to me in the presence as property for a burial place." Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, of all who went in at the gate of the city, "No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it, in the sight of my sons of my people. I give it to you. Bury your dead." Then Abraham bowed down before the people of the land, and he said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, "But if you will hear me, I give the price of the field. Accept it from me, that I may bury my dead here." Ephron answered Abraham, "My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver. What is that between you and me? Bury your dead." Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weights current among the merchants. So the field of Ephron and Machpelah, which was east of Mamre, the field with the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field, throughout its whole area, was made over to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites, before all who went in and out of the gate. After this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, east of Mamre, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that is in it were made over to Abraham as property for a burial place by the Hittites. Chapter 24. Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. Tonight we are reading in Genesis chapter 24. We're currently in the ESV version, just making our way chapter by chapter, taking a little break for some tea, and just glad that you're here tonight. If you feel someone could be blessed by the reading tonight, feel free to go ahead and give this live a share to someone and get the word out. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Coco. I appreciate that. I do currently put these on YouTube, so there is a playlist up there, and the lives will be over there for future reference. If you check that out, you'll see those on there. Thank you, Anna. That's really generous of you. Appreciate that. We are reading in Genesis chapter 24. We are currently in the earlier chapters of Genesis, looking at the life of Abraham and his offspring. And we are in the ESV, if you're following along. All right, let's go ahead and continue. Genesis chapter 24. Now Abraham was old, well advanced in years, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said to his servant, the oldest of his household, who had charge of all that he had, "Put your hand under my thigh, that I may make you swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of the earth, that you will not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell, but will go to the country and to my kindred and take a wife for my son Isaac." The servant said to him, "Perhaps the woman may not be willing to follow me to this land. Must I then take your son back to the land from which I came?" Abraham said to him, "See to it that you do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, and who spoke to me and swore to me, 'To your offspring I will give this land,' he will send his angel before you, and you shall take a wife for my son from there. But if the woman is not willing to follow you, then you will be free from this oath of mine. Only you must not take my son back there." So the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham his master, and swore to him concerning this matter. Then the servant took 10 of his master's camels and departed, taking all sorts of choice gifts from his master. And he arose and went to Mesopotamia, to the city of Nahor. And he made the camels kneel down outside the city by the well of water at the time of evening, the time when women go out to draw water. And he said, "O Lord, God of my master Abraham, please grant me success today and show me steadfast love to my master Abraham. Behold, I am standing by the spring of water, and the daughters of the men of the city are coming out to draw water. Let the young women to whom I shall say, 'Please, let down your jar that I may drink,' and who shall say, 'Drink, and I will water your camels,' let her be the one whom you have appointed for your servant Isaac. By this I shall know that you have shown steadfast love to my master." Before he had finished speaking, behold, Rebekah, who was born to Bethuel, the son of Milcah, the wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother, came out with her water jar on her shoulder. The young woman was very attractive in appearance, a maiden whom no man had known. She went down to the spring and filled her jar and came up. Then the servant ran to meet her and said, "Please, give me a little water to drink from your jar." She said, "Drink, my lord," and she quickly let down her jar upon her hand and gave him a drink. When she had finished giving him a drink, she said, "I will draw water for your camels also until they have finished drinking." So she quickly emptied her jar into the trough and ran again to the well to draw water, and she drew for all his camels. The man gazed at her in silence to learn whether the Lord had prospered his journey or not. When the camels had finished drinking, the man took a gold ring weighing a half a shekel and 2 bracelets for her arms, weighing 10 gold shekels, and said, "Please tell me whose daughter you are. Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?" She said to him, "I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, whom she bore to Nahor." She said, "We have plenty of both straw and fodder, and room to spend the night." The man bowed his head and worshiped the Lord and said, "Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. As for me, the Lord has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman." Then the young woman ran and told her mother's household about these things. Rebekah had a brother whose name was Laban. Laban ran out toward the man to the spring. As soon as he saw the ring and the bracelets of his sister's arms and heard the words of Rebekah, his sister, "Thus the man spoke to me," he went to the man, and behold, he was standing by the camels at the spring. He said, "Come in, O blessed of the Lord. Why do you stand out here? For I have prepared the house and a place for the camels." So the man came to the house and unharnessed the camels and gave straw and fodder to the camels. And there was water to wash his feet and the feet of the men who were there with him. Then food was set before him to eat, but he said, "I will not eat until I have said what I have come to say." He said, "Speak on." So he said, "I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has greatly blessed my master, and he has become very great. He has given him flocks and herds, silver and gold, male servants and female servants, camels and donkeys. And Sarah, my master's wife, bore a son to my master when she was old, and to him he has given all that he has. My master made me swear, saying, 'You shall not take a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites in whom's the land I dwell. But you shall go to my father's house and to my clan and take a wife for my son.' And I said to my master, 'Perhaps the woman will not follow me.' But he said to me, 'The Lord before whom I have walked will send his angel with you and prosper your way. You shall take a wife for your son from my clan and from my master's house. Then you will be free from my oath when you come to my clan, and if they will not give her to you, you will be free from my oath.' I came today to the spring and said, 'O Lord, the God of my master Abraham, if now you are prospering the way that I go, behold, I am standing by the spring of water. Let the virgin who comes out to draw water, to whom I shall say, "Please give me a little water from your jar to drink," and whom will say to me, "Drink, and I will draw for your camels also," let her be the woman whom the Lord has appointed for my master's son. Behold, I have finished speaking in my heart. Before I had finished speaking in my heart, behold, Rebekah came out with her water jar on her shoulder, and she went down to the spring and drew water. I said to her, "Please, let me drink." She quickly let down her jar from her shoulder and said, "Drink, and I will give your camels drink also." So I drank, and she gave the camels drink also. Then I asked her, "Whose daughter are you?" She said, "The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, whom Milcah bore to him." So I put the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her arms. Then I bowed my head and worshiped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who had led me by the right way to take the daughter of my master's kinsman for his son. Now then, if you are going to show steadfast love and faithfulness to my master, tell me, and if not, tell me, that I may turn to the right or to the left." Then Laban and Bethuel answered and said, "The king has come. The thing has come from the Lord. We cannot speak to you bad or good. Behold, Rebekah is before you. Take her and go, and let her be your wife, and let her be the wife of your master's son, as the Lord has spoken." When Abraham's servant heard their words, he bowed himself to the earth before the Lord. And the servant brought out the jewelry of silver and of gold and of garments and gave them to Rebekah. He also gave to her brother and her mother costly ornaments. And he and the men who were with him ate and drank, and they spent the night there. When they arose in the morning, he said, Send me away to my master." Her brother and her mother said, "Let the young woman remain with us a while, at least 10 days. After that, she may go." But he said to them, "Do not delay me, since the Lord has prospered my way. Send me away, that I may go to my master." They said, "Let us call the young woman and ask her." And they called Rebekah and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" She said, "I will go." So they sent away Rebekah, their sister, and her nurse, and Abraham's servant and his men. And they blessed Rebekah and said to her, "O sister, may you become thousands of 10,000s, and may your offspring possess the gate of those who hate him." Then Rebekah and her young woman arose and rode on the camels and followed the man. Thus the servant took Rebekah and went his way. Verse 62. Now Isaac had returned from Beer Lahairoi and was dwelling in Negeb. And Isaac went out to meditate in the fields toward evening. And he lifted up his eyes and saw, and behold, there were camels coming. And Rebekah lifted up her eyes, and when she saw Isaac, she dismounted from the camel and said to the servant, "Who is that man walking in the field to meet us?" The servant said, "It is my master." So she took her veil and covered herself. And the servant told Isaac all the things that he had done. Then Isaac brought her into the tent of Sarah, his mother, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. Chapter 25. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. We are reading in the book of Genesis. We are currently in chapter 25. If you're following along, we are in the ESV version. If you're using a Bible app, I use Blue Letter Bible, which is a really great app that has the translation options. You can also look at Hebrew and Greek definitions of words for a little more in-depth study, and a really great resource. If you all could go ahead and give me a quick thumbs up if the stream is coming in without lag or anything. Last night we had a little bit of technical issues, but looks like it is going good tonight, so that's great. Awesome. Thank you all. Lux Life, glad to see you back. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all the support and the shares and the likes tonight, and I really appreciate everyone being here. If you feel someone could be blessed by the reading tonight, go ahead and give the live a share, and go ahead and get the word out. Really appreciate it. Kathleen, absolutely. I'm glad to be reading. Thank you for being here tonight. If anyone's drinking tea tonight, go ahead and drop that selection in the chat. I always like to see what everyone's drinking and see if I can pick up some good herbal tea. I do like loose leaf. It's a little bit, I feel like the selections are a little better somehow. Nikki, the Bible app we are using, I'm actually using the Blue Letter Bible on a browser, but they do have an app which is free, and there's a profile that you can save all of your highlights, as well as notes and lexicons, and there's a ton of stuff on there, so I highly recommend that app for sure. Persian mint tea, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna snap some photos of the tea selections because I gotta add that to my shopping cart after. Welcome everyone who's just joining. Tonight we are reading Genesis, and we are in chapter 25, looking at the life of Abraham and his family. And I'll probably be reading for another hour, so we'll see how many chapters we make it tonight. Thank you, Marla. Appreciate that. Thank you, Lux. That's very nice of you. I'll also drop a link in the chat to the featured mug for tonight. This one is from the tribe of Issachar. I do not currently read daily. I'm kind of on a Monday night and Tuesday night, or Tuesday night and Wednesday night. So I update my notes on the profile there the morning before my reading. I am trying to shift my schedule around a little bit to maybe do like some midday readings, maybe in Proverbs or Psalms or somewhere in there. So I would like to try to get that in my schedule, because I really enjoy being here. So, and I enjoy all of you all for being here. So let's go ahead and continue. Genesis chapter 25. And Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah. She bore him Zimrah, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan fathered Sheba, and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Ashurim, Lechuhim, and Limumim. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abidad, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. And Abraham gave all that he had to Isaac. But to the sons of his concubines Abraham gave gifts, and while he was still living, he sent them away from his son Isaac, eastward into the east country. These are the days of the years of Abraham's life, 175 years. Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and he was gathered to his people. Isaac and Ishmael, his sons, buried him in the cave of Machpelah, in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, east of Mamre, the field that Abraham purchased from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with Sarah, his wife. After the death of Abraham, God blessed Isaac his son, and Isaac settled at Beer Aroi. Verse 12. These are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar, the Egyptian, Sarah's servant, bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, named in the order of their birth: Nebaioth, the firstborn of Ishmael, and Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Budma, Bemasa, Masa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedema. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names, by their villages and by their encampments, 12 princes according to their tribes. These are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. He breathed his last and died and was gathered to his people. They settled from Havilah to Shur, which is opposite Egypt in the direction of Assyria. He settled over against all his kinsmen. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel, the Aramean, as Padan Aram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, and two peoples from which you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger." When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all his body like a hairy cloak, so they called his name Esau. Afterward, his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she was born. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Verse 29. Once, when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Therefore, his name was called Edom. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is the birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Chapter 26. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. If you just joined, we are reading in Genesis in chapter 26, in the ESV version if you are following along. Thank you for being here, and I appreciate all of the support and likes and shares tonight. This is really great seeing so many people in here listening to the scriptures, and it's just a great time. I'm really enjoying it as well. Thank you, Marla. I appreciate that. It's very nice of you. If you could give the live a share tonight to someone you feel could be blessed, it would be great to get the reading out to more people tonight. Thank you, Danny. Thank you for being here. Snooze, wow. Wisconsin, that's great. I've never been, but I have some friends there. It looks very nice. Could use some Wisconsin weather right now. Currently in Florida, and it is very hot. These streams are going to be available on YouTube. So my YouTube channel just has the same username as the TikTok here. So for future reference, those will be up in a playlist just called Dramatized Scripture Reading. Thank you, Sonny. All right, let's continue. Genesis chapter 26. Now there was a famine in the land, besides the former famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went to Gerar, to Abimelech, king of the Philistines. And the Lord appeared to him and said, Do not go down to Egypt. Dwell in the land of which I shall tell you. Sojourn in that land, and I will be with you, and will bless you. For to you and to your offspring I will give all these lands, and I will establish the oath that I swore to Abraham your father. And I will multiply your offspring as the stars of the heaven, and will give to your offspring all these lands, and in your offspring all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Verse 6. Now Isaac settled in Gerar. When the men of the place asked him about his wife, he said, She is my sister, for he feared to say, my wife, thinking, lest the men of the place should kill me because of Rebekah, because she was attractive in appearance. When he had been there a long time, Abimelech, king of the Philistines, looked out of a window and saw Isaac laughing with Rebekah, his wife. So Abimelech called Isaac and said, "Behold, she is your wife. How then could you say, 'She is my sister'?" Isaac said to him, "Because I thought lest I die because of her." Abimelech said, "What is this you have done to us? One of the people might have easily lain with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us." So Abimelech warned all the people, saying, "Whoever touches this man or his wife shall surely be put to death." And Isaac sowed in that land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. The Lord blessed him, and the man became rich and gained more and more until he became very wealthy. He had possessions of flocks and herds and many servants, so that the Philistines envied him. Now the Philistines had stopped and filled with the earth all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the days of Abraham, his father. And Abimelech said to Isaac, "Go away from us, for you are much mightier than we." So Isaac departed from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar and settled there. And Isaac dug again the wells of water that had been dug in the days of Abraham his father, which the Philistines had stopped after the death of Abraham, and he gave them the names that his father had given them. When Isaac's servants dug in the valley and found there a well of spring water, the herdsmen of Gerar quarreled with Isaac's herdsmen, saying, "The water is ours." So he called the name of the well Esek, because they contended with him. Then they dug another well, and they quarreled over that also. So he called its name Sitnah, and he moved from there and dug another well, and they did not quarrel over it. So he called its name Rehoboth, saying, "For now the Lord has made room for us, and we shall be fruitful in the land." From there he went up to Beersheba. And the Lord appeared to him the same night and said, "I am the Lord, God of Abraham, your father. Fear not, for I am with you, and will bless you, and multiply your offspring for my servant Abraham's sake." So he built an altar there, and called upon the name of the Lord, and pitched his tent there, and there Isaac's servants dug a well. When Abimelech went to him from Gerar with Ahuzzath, his advisor, and Phicol, the commander of his army, Isaac said to them, "Why have you come to see me, seeing that you hate me and have sent me away from you?" They said, "We see plainly that the Lord has been with you." So we said, "Let there be a sworn pact between us, between you and us, and let us make a covenant with you, that you will not do us harm, just as you have not touched you. We have not touched you and have done to you nothing but good, and have sent you away in peace. You are now blessed of the Lord." So he made them a feast, and they ate and drank. In the morning they rose early and exchanged oaths, and Isaac sent them on their way, and they departed from him in peace. That same day Isaac's servants came and told him about the well that they had dug, and said to him, "We have found water." He called it Sheba. Therefore the name of the city is Beersheba to this day. When Esau was 40 years old, he took Judith, the daughter of Beri the Hittite, to be his wife, and Basmath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite. And they made life bitter for Isaac and Rebekah. Chapter 27. Thank you, Gina. Glad to have you here tonight. Welcome everyone who just joined. Tonight we are reading in Genesis chapter 27. Reading for about another hour, so we'll see how far that gets us. Genesis chapter 27 in the ESV, if you're following along. Thank you, Lux. Go ahead and give the like a share if you feel that someone could be blessed by the reading this evening, and we'll get the reading out to as many people as possible. Thank you, Robin. That's great. Thank you so much. Jay, that's great. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I am trying to schedule in something like some midday readings, probably in Proverbs and Psalms that are a little less story based, and that way, if we can get some more readings going, I feel like would be really edifying. Marion, thank you. Thank you for being here. If you've just joined, for anyone, we are reading in Genesis in chapter 27. We're in the ESV if you're following along. Reading chapter by chapter with a few tea breaks in between here. Tonight's featured mug is from the tribe of Issachar, and it's got the image of the donkey on the front and the tribe name on the back. I'll drop the potter's profile in the comments section if you want to check it out. They've got a lot of really great faith-based content. All right, let's continue. Genesis chapter 27. When Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau and his older son and said to him, "My son." And he answered, "Here I am." And he said, "Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take your weapons and your quiver and your bow and go out to the field and hunt game for me and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love, and bring it to me so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." Now Rebekah was listening when Isaac spoke to his son Esau. So when Esau went to the field to hunt for game and bring it, Rebekah said to her son Jacob, "I heard your father speak to your brother Esau. Bring me game and prepare for me delicious food, that I may eat it and bless you before the Lord before I die. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice as I command you. Go to the flock and bring me 2 young goats, so that I may prepare for them delicious food for your father, such as he loves. And you shall bring it to your father to eat, so that he may bless you before he dies." But Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall be mocked by him and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing." His mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Obey my voice, and go, bring them to me." So he went and took them and brought them to his mother. And his mother prepared delicious food such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And she put the delicious food and the bread which she had prepared into the hands of her son Jacob. So he went in to his father and said, "My father." And he said, "Here I am." "Who are you, my son?" Jacob said to his father, "I am Esau, your firstborn. I have done as you told me. Now sit up and eat of my game, that your soul may bless me." But Isaac said to his son, "How is it that you found it so quickly, my son?" He answered, "Because the Lord your God granted me success." Then Isaac said to Jacob, "Please come near, that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not." So Jacob went to Isaac his father, who felt him and said, "The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau." And he did not recognize him, because his hands were hairy like his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. He said, "Are you really my son Esau?" He answered, "I am." Then he said, "Bring it near to me, that I may eat of my son's game and bless you." So he brought it near to him, and he ate, and he brought him wine, and he drank. Then his father Isaac said to him, "Come near and kiss me, my son." So he came near and kissed him. And Isaac smelled the smell of his garments and blessed him and said, "See, the smell of my son. It is as the smell of the field that the Lord has blessed. May God give you of the dew of the heavens and of the fatness of the earth and the plenty of grain and wine. Let peoples serve you and nations bow down to you, and be lord of your brothers, and may your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone who curses you, and blessed be everyone who blesses you." As soon as Isaac had finished blessing Jacob, when Jacob had scarcely gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, Esau his brother came in from his hunting. He also prepared delicious food and brought it to his father, and he said to his father, "Let my father arise and eat of his son's game, that you may bless me." His father Isaac said to him, "Who are you?" He answered, "I am your son, your firstborn son, Esau." Then Isaac trembled very violently and said, "Who was it that hunted game and brought it to me? And I ate all before you came, and I have blessed him. Yes, and he shall be blessed." As soon as Esau heard the words of his father, he cried out with an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, "Oh, bless me, even me, oh my father." But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully
and he has taken away your blessing.
Esau said,
It is not rightly named Jacob, for he has cheated me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing.
Then he said,
Have you not preserved a blessing for me, father?
Isaac answered and said to Esau,
Behold, I have made him lord over you, and all his brothers I have given to him for servants, and with grain and wine I have sustained him. What then can I do for you, my son?
Esau said to his father,
Have you but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me, oh my father.
And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Then Isaac his father answered and said to him, Then Isaac his father answered and said to him,
Behold, away from the fatness of the earth shall your dwelling place be, and away from the dew of heaven on high. By your sword you shall live, and you shall serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you shall break his yoke from your neck.
Now Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said to himself,
The days of mourning for my father are approaching. Then I will kill my brother Jacob.
But the words of Esau were older. Her older son were. But the words of Esau, her older son, were told to Jacob. So she sent and called Jacob, her younger son, and said to him, Behold, your brother Esau comforts himself about you by planning to kill you. Now go therefore, my son, obey my voice, arise, flee to Laban, my brother in Haran, and stay with him a while, until your brother's fury turns away, until your brother's anger turns away from you, and he forgets that what you have done to him. Then I will send and bring you from there. Why should I be bereaved of both in one day? Then Rebekah said to Isaac, I loathe my life because of the Hittite women. If Jacob marries one of the Hittite women like these, one of the women of the land, what good will my life be to me? Chapter 28. Thank you, Marion. That's very nice of you. If you're just joining, tonight we are reading in Genesis chapter 28 in the ESV if you're following along. We are reading in Genesis chapter 28. Thanks to everyone for all the shares, the likes, and the support tonight. It's really great seeing how many people are here to hear the word being read. And if you feel that this live will be a blessing, go ahead and share the live to someone that you feel could be benefited by it. I think I just made up a word, benefited. I like it. I'm going to start using that. Thank you, Sunny. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yes, tonight's mug is from the tribe of Issachar. It is emblemed with the image of the donkey on the front, and on the back is the tribe name in Hebrew. And in Genesis 49:14 through 15, it says, Issachar is a strong donkey crouching between two burdens. The donkey symbolizes hard work, service, and endurance, a quiet strength carried with purpose. And at the end of the life of Jacob, he ends up blessing all of his children. So they all have a different image to represent some of their accomplishments and their, some of the things that they have done or achieved in their life. I'll go ahead and drop a comment in the chat if you want to check out the link to the potter who makes these faith-based mugs. Hope, yeah, that's interesting. I've not thought about that. Thank you, Marion. I think we're glitching a little bit earlier. If it's coming in clear, just let me know, and then we'll continue. Great. Looking good. Thanks for the responses, everyone. If you're just joining, we are reading in Genesis chapter 28, chapter by chapter. I'll probably read for about another 30 minutes, so we'll see where that puts us. Mariah, I actually just started, I think about 2 weeks ago now. Thanks for being in here tonight. Really appreciate you all and seeing a lot of return people. This is great to see everyone in here tonight. Let's go ahead and continue. Genesis chapter 28. Then Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and directed him, "You must not take a wife from the Canaanite women. Arise, go to Padan-Aram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take as your wife from there one of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may become a company of peoples. May he give the blessing of Abraham to you and to your offspring with you, that you may take possession of the land of your sojournings that God gave to Abraham." Thus Isaac sent Jacob away, and he went to Padan-Aram, to Laban, the son of Bethuel the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob, and Esau's mother. Now Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan-Aram to take a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he directed him, "You must not take a wife from the Canaanite women." And that Jacob had obeyed his father and his mother and gone to Padan-Aram. So when Esau saw that the Canaanite women did not please Isaac his father, Esau went to Ishmael and took as his wife, besides the wives he had, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebaioth. Verse 10. Jacob left Beersheba and went towards Haran, and he came to a certain place and stayed there that night, because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of the place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, there was a ladder set up on earth, and the top of it reached to heaven. And behold, the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and to your offspring. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Behold, I am with you, and will keep you wherever you go, and will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. Then Jacob arose from his sleep and said, Surely the Lord is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was afraid and said, How awesome is this place! This is none other than the house of God, and this is the gate of heaven. So early in the morning, Jacob took the stone that he had put under his head and set it up for a pillar and poured oil on the top of it. He called the name of that place Bethel, but the name of the city was Luz at the first. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, If God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and clothing to wear, so that I come again to my father's house in peace, then the Lord shall be my God. And this stone which I have set up for a pillar shall be God's house. And of all that you give me, I will give a full tenth to you. Chapter 29. Genesis chapter 29. Then Jacob went on his journey and came to the land of the people of the east, and he looked, and he saw a well in the field, and behold, 3 flocks of sheep lying beside it. For out of that well the flocks were watered. The stone on the well's mouth was large. And when all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone from the mouth of the well and water the sheep, and put the stone back in its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob said to them, My brothers, where do you come from? They said, We are from Haran. And he said to them, Do you know Laban, the son of Nahor? They said, We know him. He said to them, Is it well with him? They said, It is well. And see, Rachel, his daughter, is coming with the sheep. He said, Behold, it is still high day. Is it not time for the livestock to be gathered together? Water the sheep and go pasture them. But they said, We cannot until all the flocks are gathered together and the stone is rolled from the mouth of the well. Then we water the sheep. While he was still speaking with them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherdess. Now as soon as Jacob saw Rachel, the daughter of Laban, his mother's brother, and the sheep of Laban, his mother's brother, Jacob came near and rolled the stone from the well's mouth and watered the flock of Laban, his mother's brother. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and wept aloud. And Jacob told Rachel that he was her father's kinsman, and that he was Rebekah's son. And she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he ran to meet him and embraced him and kissed him and brought him to the house. Jacob told Laban all these things, and Laban said to him, "Surely you are my bone and my flesh." And he stayed with him a month. Then Laban said to Jacob, "Behold, you are my kinsman. Should you therefore serve me for nothing? Tell me, what shall your wages be?" Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah's eyes were weak, but Rachel was beautiful in form and appearance. Jacob loved Rachel, and he said, "I will serve you 7 years for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It is better that I give you to her than that I should give her to any other man. Stay with me." So Jacob served 7 years for Rachel, and they seemed to him but a few days because of the love he had for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, that I may go into her, for my time is completed." So Laban gathered together all of the people of the place and made a feast. But in the evening he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and he went into her. Laban gave his female servant Zilpah to his daughter Leah to be her servant. And in the morning, behold, it was Leah. And Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel? Why then have you deceived me?" Laban said, "It is not done in our country to give the younger before the firstborn. Complete the week of this one, and we will give you the other also in return for serving me another 7 years." And Jacob did so and completed her week. Then Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife. Laban gave his female servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel to be servant. So Jacob went into Rachel also, and he loved Rachel more than Leah, and served Laban for another 7 years. Verse 31. When the Lord saw that Leah was hated, he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. And Leah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Reuben, for she said, "Behold, the Lord has looked upon my affliction, for now my husband will love me." She conceived again and bore a son, and said, "Behold, the Lord has heard that I am hated. He has given me this son also." And she called his name Simeon. Again she conceived and bore a son, and said, "Now this time my husband will be attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore his name shall be called Levi." And she conceived again and bore a son, and said, "This time I will praise the Lord." Therefore she called his name Judah. Then she ceased bearing. Chapter 30. Thanks everyone for getting the stream back up and going there. I'm not sure what the issue is, but I'll continue to see if I can figure out what this is throughout the week, and hopefully our next stream will be a lot smoother. Khadija, that would be a really cool feature to have the scriptures on the screen. That might be possible. I'll look into that. That would be a really neat feature, huh? Thank you, Sonny. Vanessa, tonight we are reading in the ESV, if you're following along. I am back. Thankfully, I hope that's it for the glitches tonight. Absolutely, Gina, thanks for being here. Go ahead and give the live a share to someone if you think they could be blessed by this reading tonight. We'll probably read few more chapters here for tonight, and then we'll go ahead and close up. All right. If you just joined the live, tonight we are reading in Genesis chapter 30 in the ESV, if you're following along. Genesis chapter 30. Let's continue. Genesis chapter 30. When Rachel saw that she bore Jacob no children, she envied her sister. She said to Jacob, "Give me children, or I shall die." Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, "Am I in the place of God? Who has withheld from you the fruit of the womb?" Then she said, "Here is my servant Bilhah. Go into her, so that she may give birth on my behalf, that even I may have children through her." So she gave him her servant Bilhah as a wife, and Jacob went into her. And Bilhah conceived and bore Jacob a son. Then Rachel said, "God has judged me and has also heard my voice and given me a son." Therefore she called his name Dan. Rachel's servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, "With mighty wrestling I have wrestled with my sister and have prevailed." So she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had ceased bearing children, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Then Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son, and Leah said, "Good fortune has come." So she called his name Gad. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son, and Leah said, "Happy am I, for women have called me happy." So she called his name Asher. In the days of the wheat harvest, Reuben went and found mandrakes in the field and brought them to his mother Leah. Then Rachel said to Leah, "Please, give me some of your son's mandrakes." But she said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" Rachel said, "Then he may die with you tonight in exchange for your son's mandrakes." Then Jacob came from the field in the evening. Leah went out to meet him and said, "You must come in to me, for I have hired you with my son's mandrakes." So he lay with her that night. And God listened to Leah, and she conceived and bore Jacob a fifth son. Leah said, "God has given me my wages because I gave my servant to my husband." So she called his name Issachar. And Leah conceived again, and she bore Jacob a sixth son. Then Leah said, "God has endowed me with a good endowment. Now my husband will honor me because I have borne him 6 sons." So she called his name Zebulun. Afterward she bore a daughter and called her name Dinah. Then God remembered Rachel, and God visited, and God listened to her and opened her womb. She conceived and bore a son and said, "God has taken away my reproach." And she called his name Joseph, saying, "May the Lord add to me another son." As soon as Rachel had borne Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me away that I may go to my own country. Give me my wives and my children for whom I have served, that I may go, for you know the service that I have given you." But Laban said to him, If I have found favor in your sight, I have learned by divination that the Lord has blessed me because of you. Name your wages, and I will give it to you." Jacob said to him, "You yourself know that I have served you, and how your livestock have feared me. For you have little before I came, and it has increased abundantly, and the Lord has blessed you wherever I turned. But now, when shall I provide for my own husband's household also?" He said, "What shall I give you?" Jacob said, "You shall not give me anything. If you will do this for me, I will again pasture your flock and keep it. Let me pass through all your flock today, removing from it every speckled and spotted sheep and every black lamb, and the spotted and the speckled among the goats, and they shall be my wages. So my honesty will answer for me later. When you come to look into my wages with you, every one that is not speckled and spotted among the goats and black among the lambs, if found with me, shall be counted as stolen." Laban said, "Good, let it be as you have said." But that day Laban removed the male goats that were striped and spotted, and all the female goats that were speckled and spotted, every one that had white on it, and every lamb that was black, and put them in the charge of his sons. And he set a distance of 3 days' journey between himself and Jacob's pasture, the rest of Laban's flock. Then Jacob took fresh sticks of the poplar and almond and plane trees and peeled white streaks in them, exposing the white of the sticks. He set the sticks that he had peeled in front of the flocks in the troughs, that is, the watering places. When the flocks came to drink, and since they bred, when they came to the drink, the flocks bred in front of the sticks, and so the flocks brought forth striped, speckled, and spotted. And Jacob separated the lambs and set the faces of the flocks toward the stripes, all the black in front of the flock of Laban. He put his own droves apart and did not put them with Laban's flock. Whenever the stronger of the flock were breeding, Jacob would lay the sticks in the troughs before the eyes of the flock, that they might breed among the sticks. But for the feebler of the flock, he would not lay them, so the feebler would be Laban's, and the stronger Jacob's. Thus the man increased greatly, and he had large flocks, female servants and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Thank you, everyone, for all the gifts this evening and for all the shares and the likes. I really appreciate all the support for the live. I'm going to go ahead and read a closeout and spend a little time in the chat here before ending the live. As we come to the end of tonight's reading, we've worked through Genesis chapter 19 and continued forward through the passages. This section carried a heavy and reflective tone, showing the continued consequences of what has already taken place and how those effects ripple through the lives of the people involved. It's a reminder of how deeply these moments shape the direction of the story as Genesis continues to unfold. On the next reading, we'll keep progressing step by step through the book, following the next sections as they naturally come. Thank you for being here and spending this time in the Word tonight. I truly appreciate you being in here tonight, and I pray you have a peaceful and restful night ahead. I'm going to turn off the camera now, so there's a few minutes to reflect on what we've read. Feel free to stay in the chat and continue sharing anything that you found meaningful from tonight's reading.